Morning everyone, and thanks for taking the time to check out this video on stick choices and making the right choice in terms of buying a stick. Okay, so I get asked a lot of questions from both players and parents about which stick to buy in terms of brand, carbon levels, lengths and bows. So hopefully I can answer some of those questions in this little video. And the video is very much aimed for junior players transitioning into senior sticks, so players that are sort of 12, 13, 14, but it's also going to be really helpful for adults and older players as well. All right, okay, so first things first, length of stick. There's no sort of set rule on this. It should feel comfortable when players are holding the stick in a carrying position and a dribbling position. So they shouldn't have the stick end coming up into their sort of tummy or into that area. All right, so it's sort of, in and around the hip, nice carrying position, obviously not too short where they're having to bend over too much. So that's a little bit of a personal preference in terms of, length, but certainly moving on through sticks, if you were, say, a 34, you would be probably looking to move on to a 35 or a 35.5. Okay, so that's your length. All right, bow is the bow at the bottom of the stick here. Okay, now I would strongly recommend players to use a sort of low bow when they're playing, because it helps with skill development. It helps you be able to manipulate the ball, and it helps to manipulate the ball pretty quickly. Okay, so I think I've played with a low bow stick for probably the last sort of 10 to 15 years, and I would encourage junior players to do that as well, just for those reasons. The opposite to that would be more of a mid bow that runs throughout the sort of length of the stick. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, again down to sort of preference, but the low bow will help players lift the ball, it'll help players flick the ball and sort of aerial the ball as well. So a variety of reasons why perhaps a low bow might give you a few more added benefits. If perhaps you wanted to concentrate on keeping the ball on the deck with your slapping and your hitting, then a mid-bow stick might just be something for you guys to look at as well. So yeah, my personal preference, and I would probably encourage junior players, is to consider a low bow style stick. Okay. Next thing is the material within the stick. All right, so this YLB 90, the 90 is the giveaway, so that's the amount of carbon that you're going to find in the stick. And they generally range from obviously 100, which is full carbon, 90, and then they stagger down generally. So you might go down to sort of 70 and then 50. The more carbon, generally speaking, the harder that the stick's going to slap or it's going to hit. It's a stiffer feel when you're playing. So if you're perhaps looking to shoot with more power, you might be looking to play with a stick with more carbon, for example. The sacrifice with more carbon is the touch, so the touch and the feel. It's much stiffer. So if you play with something that's more like 70% carbon or 90, you're going to perhaps have a little bit more feel. So it's again down to preference, but I would suggest junior players to be probably on either a 70% or a 90%. A full 100% carbon stick is also the most expensive, and again that's up to you as parents or individuals to choose that. But there isn't always a necessity to spend the full amount, I guess, or the top price for a stick. So mine's a 90, and I really enjoy using this stick because it has the power that I need, but also it's got enough touch and feel. All right. Next thing would be weight, and I guess perhaps not as important, but I would recommend players to use the lightest stick possible that they can use, because technology these days has moved on, and you can still get lots of power even though the stick's relatively light, because that's just the way they're made these days. You wouldn't want to use a really heavy ended stick either, because that's going to make manipulating and moving the ball much harder. It's going to make it harder. If you've got a nice headlight stick, so it's nice and light in this section, it means you're going to be able to move your stick head nice and quickly. All right, and I suspect it's dispelling a little bit of a myth where defenders may use heavy sticks and forwards may use heavy sticks, and also defenders using particular bows or models. The game has moved on so much now that full backs and centre backs might use this stick as well as centre forwards. You know, it doesn't really make much difference in my opinion. Okay, so that's weight and balance point, I guess, if you like, making sure that the balance point is allowing more weight up in this end and this end to be lighter. Okay. Next thing I would also sort of urge players to do, whilst mine's a little bit shabby, is to invest, I guess, in a slightly better grip than the ones that come from the factory. So there's actually 2 grips on this stick, and what I'll tend to do is wrap a grip over the existing grip, and that allows the quality of the grip that's on here to be a little bit better, a little bit more tactile. You can choose like a super soft grip like this, or if you're playing on water-based pitches, you may feel like the necessity to have a chamois grip, which absorbs moisture and absorbs water and rain as well. So they're really good. These can get a little bit slippy when it's wet. I sort of have my fingers crossed that it's not going to be a really rainy day when I'm playing. If that's the case, I'll probably quickly pop a chamois on it as well. All right. I personally like a nice sticky grip because that allows me to move the stick really quickly. If it's smooth, I don't feel like I can manipulate and move the head as quickly as I'd like. Okay. Hopefully that helps. I really love the Y1 sticks. I think they're absolutely fantastic. It's a fantastic brand as well. So check out Y1. There's plenty to choose from, both in the junior range and moving up through the obviously into the senior sticks. They have a real variety, and you can also take the stick test as well to help with identifying perhaps a stick that's going to work for you. Those questions will hopefully be answered that some of you parents might have. If you've got any more questions, just send me an email. But yeah, good luck. It's the time of year over the summer to potentially look at getting a new stick in preparation for August and September when the season starts. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys soon. Thanks.